Fit, active, healthy, happy, enjoying the prime of your life. Looking out for your health and wellness. This is Health Talk with Fred Lowry from Lowry Drug in Statesville. Visit Fred at his store, conveniently located on Hartness Road in Statesville.
Good afternoon. This is Fred Lowry, pharmacist and doctor of natural medicine, broadcasting you in a pre-recorded episode for October 24th, 2025. This is Health Talk, exploring the facets of your health and keeping you up to date and informed. This program is intended to share knowledge and information based on my research and experience. This is not intended to offer individual advice, nor does it replace a one-on-one relationship with a qualified healthcare professional. Your daily choices are yours and have more to do with your health than anyone in the healthcare field. My hopes are that this show will empower you with knowledge to take a more proactive approach to your health. Some of my sources include, but may not, are not limited to, various news and health feeds, including Epic Times, Mercola, Children's Health Defense, PubMed, and various other Substack posts. Got a good show for you today, I think. We'll start out by complaining or talking about that. We'll talk about sleep and some of the aspects of different fluid consumption, and perhaps get into areas of consciousness related to your health. I ran across this article related to a study about complaining, and had interest in that. I don't feel like I'm a complainer, but apparently the average individual complains 15 to 30 times a day, and at least one complaint per minute in a conversation. And as I went through this, I found it interesting. But then I had to finally admit that I also do complain, and in various forms. So generally, I think of myself as a relatively positive person. But I think complaining is a natural phenomenon. It helps us give voice to our frustrations. It may be asking for sympathy. But if it gets out of balance too much, it may get you stuck in a victim-type mentality. Apparently, according to the study, complaining, I would say chronically, rewires your brain. Repeating a behavior like complaining makes neurons that actually kind of collectively connect together make the information flows. And if you think about your brain as a wiring system, which it's really not, but we kind of visualize it like that in terms of a nerve or connections. But this information in terms of what we call neurons, and a neuron is basically a connection, if you think about it like a spark plug gap, if you will, and neurotransmitters bridge that gap chemically. And so the more we do something, the more those patterns become hardwired. So we actually can create negative situations in our brain and positive situations, and that's part of the plasticity of the brain. And meaning the changeability of it. But some of those patterns can get really locked in, making it more difficult for us to change. And part of these start in your childhood with your core family and that type of thing. But so we find that complaining, particularly in a pattern, the more you do it, the more neurons are fired. And one of the neuroscientists years ago, Donald Hebb, said that neurons that fire together wire together. So the more times neurons fire or are stimulated, they become more connected. So the complaining, of course, changes how you perceive the world. And as I was driving to do an errand a couple of days ago, I realized I was complaining out loud about traffic and the person that didn't move quite as fast as I would like them to. And so I guess I do complain in some ways, but of course, I think there is a benefit at some level, as long as you can move on and it doesn't become chronic, and that you're giving voice to something that bothers you. So one of the things in terms of trying to stop or make a shift in terms of a better choice, apparently the more we do this, and I think this is true with any negative behavior, the more the brain rewires itself. When we do this, when we experience these negative things, your blood is, your whole system, not just your bloodstream, is flooded with stress hormones. Your brain feels threatened, if you will. This actually destroys memory. So there's a real connection between negative feelings and your ability to remember things. Now, conversely, emotional episodes, things that you connect to very deeply, really help improve the memory thereof. And so, a good thing that happened, good memory, kind of improves the retention of that. And also the opposite is true, a bad memory. And it seems like those bad memories seem to be more ingrained for some individuals than others. So this type of thought process kind of hijacks your brain system in terms of how you prioritize things, what's most important to you. And the more you do it, the more you notice problems, and the fewer the opportunities that are out there. This type of thinking disrupts the function of something called the prefrontal cortex, which is the decision-making, emotional regulation, creativity area of the brain. And this type of connection actually decreases. So they've shown actually that the more negativity, the more complaining type behaviors, your parts of your brain actually can shrink. So eventually you can default into a suffering type mode. So basically the complaining kind of leads to brain damage. And how do you fix this? So of course, it's easy to say think positive thoughts. It kind of depends on where you are with all this, but I think bringing attention to it and recognizing a pattern that you may or may not have can be a good step in changing as we do this. And some of this I characterize as general resistance, like the person that doesn't go as fast at the stoplight, you miss a turn. Stay tuned for more health talk. Welcome back to Health Talk. This is Fred Lowry, pharmacist and doctor of natural medicine of Lowry Drug in Statesville. Talking about complaining and resistance in life. As a note, I'm not really complaining about this, but so there's different aspects of your brain functionality and how things work. It's kind of interesting too in terms of addictions. There are various types of addictions, some that are socially acceptable and some that are not. Some that are weaker, some that are more powerful. And this is all kind of goes together in terms of how your brain gets wired and the patterns that you have, and we have actually programmed responses. So, an example of in the traffic situation, something happens, it's going to happen. It's happened before, and we all react in the same way. It reminds me of when I'm driving with my horse trailer rig, and I'm leaving space in front of me so I can stop, and somebody dives in front. It's going to happen. It for many years it just made me furious, but now I just go a little bit slower, and that traffic goes on, and it doesn't upset me anymore. Well, maybe it doesn't upset me as much. How about that? But there's ways to change the way you look at things in a way that creates less resistance. And the concept of resistance is things that we create to maybe make obstacles in our life, or things that are more difficult. If you miss a turn on the freeway, okay, you missed it. It can be frustrating, particularly if you're on a time schedule. But it's easy to say. It doesn't do any good to get upset about that. One of the ways we learn about things is watching someone else experience whatever that may be. If we're learning a task, we actually watching someone actually makes neurons fire in terms of the order of things that you're learning. So watching makes you helps you make you do the job more effectively. So the same thing can happen in a negative way. If you watch something that's negative and it brings to mind TV, it's really important I think, to capture the things that are important. And when you're watching TV, an action movie or maybe a war movie or something that's negative, you're actually living that. Your brain's experiencing it. It causes you to feel the same emotions. You may feel empathy. So you're influenced by the things that you watch and read. And your brain really doesn't know the difference between fantasy and reality. If it's experiencing the emotions of something, you're in that moment, and so that's the way the brain sees it. The same thing could be true about being in terms of feeling the energy or the experience of something positive or negative. You could take the mob mentality, or even a great music festival, and the energy of these things is additive, really. So the other thing about complaining in a chronic sense is it attracts others that complain. So we attract people that experience the same emotions because it seems supportive. So you can have a positive spiral direction-wise and a negative spiral. So, what you're maybe a way to look at it is, if you don't like something, if you can change it, then that's something that you can put your energy into. But if you can't change it, you may need to look at other ways to deal with that. So then we get into change, and some of this thought process also is applied to how you're going to change in terms of your health. And of course, education is important to that. But change basically requires some type of effort. Of course, recognizing the possibility that change is possible. But there are three things basically that are required to make change. A vision for that, and perhaps that might be an improved health situation. A plan, trying to identify things that you can change, and then the effort for that. So basically, changing your life situation is not always just avoiding the negative. It's just a better way to do it is replace habits with good habits. Making a change like that. So, maybe soft drinks, you're drinking more water, as an example. It does require effort, obviously, but sometimes we look at it in terms of this is work. I'll work on that. A better way to look at it would be I'm going to play with that. And so all that is doing is reframing your perception about how you're going to look at things. And another example I've used in the past is if you decide you're not going to eat sugar and you say that, don't eat sugar, the last two things you said was eat sugar. Better choice is I'm going to make healthier choices in terms of that. One of the things that I find that people have difficulty in making changes is relative to things that they perceive as a luxury. So you might even perceive that a soft drink is a luxury, and it's special to be able to have that because you didn't have that as a child, as an example, or whatever it may be. But sometimes these things are actually taking more than they give. It could be a glass of wine or a craft beer or whatever it may be. So basically all this comes down to is trying to make better choices. There's all kinds of ways to deal with that in terms of your reframing your perception and making better choices, cultivating gratitude, all these things. But it's just something I find interesting in terms of your overall health and how you look at the world. I thought I'd, since I used the soft drink as an example, I want to give you some a little concept of something that doesn't seem like it's a big deal. But it really is from a biochemistry standpoint. I'm still amazed at some level at the number of people that buy soft drinks and consume them regularly. In the grocery store, you go in and shop, and not that I would look at someone else's shopping cart, but I do notice. Particularly people that are loaded with soft drinks. I wonder if they've got a party, or is this just the regular stash that they have for themselves? Apparently, more than about 63% of individuals in this country, 18 years or older, drink at least one sugar-sweetened beverage a day, so this is an overload of sugar. Absolutely nothing good for your health here. These soft drinks actually damage your well-being and wreak havoc on your gut microbiome, which compromises your immune function. So it's kind of curious in terms of this sugar consumption. That it's been shown that these microbes, the bacteria, when it's in this sugar environment, can actually change genetically. And this is something, a process called as functional plasticity. We talked about that with the brain. But apparently the microbes do the same thing, and that we've talked about how they really influence your mental and emotional situation. But these soft drinks can cause genetic switches and alter immune signals that weaken your gut barrier and reshape your gut microbiome, warping your body's defense system. And years ago, I saw this article about drinking one sugary drink lowers your immune function And let's just say you come in contact with a virus that you would have previously been able to fend off, but it makes you sick. So these soft drinks apparently, and the sugar flips a switch in your gut. A study published in Nature Communications Journal set out to look at how this DNA changes, and they picked a particular bacteria that's known for protecting the lining of your gut, reducing inflammation, and preventing harmful bacteria to take hold. So this situation, they actually showed a change in the DNA of this particular bacteria, which changed how the bacteria commute with the immune system. Pretty interesting. Stay tuned for more health talk. This is Fred Lowry.
Doctor, my eyes have seen the years and the slow parade of fears without crying. Now I want to understand.
Welcome back to Health Talk. This is Fred Lowry. Lowry Drug on Hartness Road in Statesville was established in 1959. We're a traditional family pharmacy with a state-of-the-art compounding laboratory. We offer a full line of medical equipment, including CPAP, scooters, lift chairs, and oxygen. We also have a full line of supplements, nutritionals, herbs, essential oils, homeopathics, and more. So we were talking about soft drinks. We're going to talk about some of the chemistry, body chemistry that this habit impacts, including metabolic syndrome and possibly gout and your immune system and other things. So the hope is that through learning about this and understanding what it actually does, maybe you can have the motivation to make a change. In this study, one of the more revealing discoveries was that the immune system effects weren't caused by the usual gut products like different types of fats, but they were driven by special proteins that the bacteria releases after sugar exposure. Another striking detail of the research is the speed of change. It actually changes within 7 days. This is something measurable in terms of the DNA that changes in the bacteria, the immune impact, the strength of the gut wall. Apparently there's these toxins that are released relative to that weaken the gut wall and drives inflammation. So the takeaway is basically simple. I think is that these soft drinks have a tremendous impact on your gut immune system, and it's not slow. It happens pretty quickly, and it also happens at the genetic level. The study stresses the importance of looking at these complex effects of nutrition and the microbiome and our health status. Of course, artificial sweeteners can be a negative as well, something we've talked about in the past, but artificial sweeteners tend to alter the proportions of specific bacterial groups. And I find it interesting, the probiotics really didn't used to be quite the thing many years ago. There was only one that I remember called Lactinex. It was lactobacillus, one organism, but now we have a whole market of probiotics relative to this. So basically, even without the sugar and the calories, the sweeteners do send a strong signal to your gut bacteria. Now, one of the components of the soft drinks is the phosphoric acid. That's the acidic part of the drink. So this is actually kind of a metabolic ambush, and most people worry about the high fructose corn syrup, but there's a lot of negative things relative to the phosphoric acid. And one of the things I've talked about in the past is how this causes you to lose calcium from bones because your body has to buffer this acid, this phosphoric acid, and it does that. One way to do it is with calcium. So when you drink a soft drink, you get this big spike of this inorganic phosphate. Those levels surge. They actually impact a hormone, which is a growth factor hormone that basically disrupts calcium absorption, metabolism, and suppresses your ability to make vitamin D. Hence, maybe that's the immune connection there. But all of this with the vitamin D and vitamin K have to do with where calcium is deposited, which now you're talking about the possibility of calcium being deposited in your arteries. There's been a connection with the sugar in the past to the damage of the blood vessels, but this is the first time I've seen it relative to vitamin D production. So the phosphate exposure is basically acts to dysregulate your body. It becomes a burden on your kidneys and over time on your arteries. So we also have this thing when the fructose and the phosphate collide in that same can. A 12-ounce cola contains ingredients that work against your health in different ways. Of course, the high fructose corn syrup, it's labeled HFCS 55, which means it's 55% fructose, 45% glucose. So it raises your blood sugar, stimulates insulin production, and that's just part of the damage. It definitely impacts your liver, the high fructose corn syrup. So the fructose gets funneled directly to the liver, increasing the liver's fat load. You've all heard about fatty liver disease. Your triglycerides go up. And this is interesting. At the same time, it spikes uric acid. We have a number of people out there that have gout, and these soft drinks are associated with that. So the uric acid causes oxidative stress. The whole thing, your blood pressure increases. It damages mitochondria. Now your energy production system goes down. Drives insulin resistance, which results in obesity, diabetes, and cardiovascular disease. And I would mention, too, it's not just the soft drinks here, but any of the sugary alcohol beverages kind of have the same impact here. So this phosphoric acid, your kidneys have to compensate. You get the spike in this hormone that lowers vitamin D, impairs calcium metabolism. So it really impacts your vascular flexibility, increasing cardiovascular risk. The caffeine, the caramel color, artificial flavors, all have an impact as well. I believe I remember years ago reading about the caramel color actually being a immunosuppressant. But some of them are an ammonia sulfite type base that increases inflammation, oxidative stress, tissue aging. Of course, artificial flavors interact with your gut. So the fructose depletes your energy on ATP. hijacks hormone signaling. It just keeps going on and on. You just think about these things. One soft drink, no big deal there. It's, but all these things really are cumulative. So what we end up with is complete metabolic disruption on this one product that you may look at it as a luxury. Some people think about cutting down, cutting back. I think the thing to do is just to stop. If you are hooked on the caffeine part of it, there are ways to deal with that. But you can certainly expect a headache, but within a week, you should feel much better. Your body will be better for it. You'll save money. I mean, this stuff just goes on and on in terms of your metabolism. Maybe it's time to make a change. Stay tuned for more Health Talk.
I've been waiting to awaken from these dreams. People go just where.
Welcome back to Health Talk. I'll tell you, sometimes I'm torn between what I want to talk about because I find so many things that interest me. So in terms of changing behavior and the things that we talked about related to energy, complaining, or how you express yourself, I ran across this article from a Midwest doctor. There's a lot to this about consciousness related to transplanted organs. And it raises the question about where do memories reside? We talk about sleep being important for brain, for memory consolidation, things like that. But when we experience feelings, emotions, it's a whole body experience. It's not just related to one area of the body. That could be, that's true for hormones or neurotransmitters. And it's really amazing the complexity of the body. But the thing that's really curious, apparently, is that when organs are transplanted, which is probably celebrated as one of medicine's greatest achievement, giving someone a little more time to live at another one's ultimate sacrifice. There are strange things that have happened in terms of the consciousness or personality or memories or even skills of people receiving these organs. So apparently there's been a lot of evidence over this in terms of memories and personality traits that are stored in organs. It says rather than the brain, and perhaps we could say along with the brain, that this energy is still a whole body experience. And it kind of changes the way we think about human consciousness, and we seem to have this reductionist type perspective where we want to put things in compartments. The brain does this, the heart does this, the heart's a pump. It's every cell of your body maintains energy and memory, and that's in some ways how homeopathics work, in that the frequency of the substance can be retained in liquid or other substance. So, there's a lot of aspects to transplants. This doctor had commented that he was really appalled at vaccination requirements during COVID. And people that were denied transplants who refused the vaccines. What frustrated him, according to this article, was that nobody mentioned that the COVID vaccines could actually increase transplant rejection by provoking autoimmunity. And there's numerous publications to corroborate that. Dr. Benjamin Bunzel at the University Hospital of Vienna looked at 47 heart transplant patients. He said that while 79% claimed their personality had not changed, even though they were showing signs otherwise, 6% reported a distinct personality change that they attributed directly to the hearts that they received. The individuals felt that they were compelled to accommodate what they sensed as the donor's memory. Approximately 10% of heart transplant patients report experiencing emotions that they believe came from the donor. While this is strange, it's kind of interesting and may make sense. Most documented case comes from Claire Sylvia's memory. There's a change of heart. She was 47, received a heart and lung transplant, and immediately started craving beer and chicken nuggets, a food that she had never liked. 5 months later, she had a dream about a young man whose name was Tim. Apparently, in the dream, they kissed, and when she woke up, she had this sense that her donor's name was Tim. So she did some research and traced the owner's identity through an obituary. His name was Tim. She contacted the family, and apparently they did confirm that he had a love for chicken nuggets and beer. Strangely enough, she found herself attracted to blonde women. So this is there's a lot of examples of these things that happen. There was a study done by neuropsychologist Paul Pearsall, who had undergone a bone marrow transplant himself. He interviewed 73 heart transplant recipients, 67 other recipients, and the families of 18 of the deceased donors. He listened to the stories, and he said there were consistencies that seemed to persist in this little study. There was traumatic memory transfers, so the remembering of perhaps the death of the individual that donated the organ. There were preference changes, including shifts for food, musical taste. Vegetarians became carnivores and vice versa. There was actually some sexual orientation changes in people that experienced overwhelming emotions. There were a lot of documented cases. There was apparently a murder conviction, an 8-year-old who received a murdered 10-year-old child's heart, began having nightmares about the killer, and through a series of interviews, they were actually able to locate the individual that committed the crime. The artistic heart, an individual that seemed to be stuck at the drawing at a nursery level, after the transplant was able to produce beautiful drawings of wildlife and landscapes. There's particular words that people have used that others have not that surfaced. There's the Violin case where a 47-year-old foundry worker received a 17-year-old black student's heart, developed a fascination with classical music. The child individual played the violin. And then there are complete transformations, feeling the donor's fate, becoming a vegetarian, all kinds of things. And apparently, these are more common in people that are extremely sensitive, open-minded, maybe more connected, if you will. Some of them are animal lovers. There's a whole list here. But I guess the point to this, in terms of the curiosity of this, is really, where are memories stored? We think about them being connected or existing in our brain, but we all are able to pick up information from other people. It's just a curiosity, and when you think about even academic success, how we have rote memory, memorization. It's a lot of things going on here in terms of brain function, and I would say that there's also pitfalls to the consolidation of brain memory or memories wherever they exist. And that could be related to some drug therapies. I would include statins, vaccinations, benzodiazepines, opioids. But you can get into other things in terms of things like other chemical contaminants, fluoride, heavy metals, etc. So all of these things certainly have an impact. It still goes back to doing the things that can be the most positive for your health, recognizing things that you can change. I hope that some of the information that's presented here at least opens up the possibility for change and the concept that you can improve your health. A lot of these relate to choices, and I think through education, it gives you the opportunity to really understand the reason you need to make changes. And some of these things that are just don't seem like a big deal, they accumulate. It's not just one thing; it's just all the things that we do, that we're exposed of, the way we think, the way we interact with other people, our sleep, our food, our water. All this is important, and I hope you'll consider that. Thank you for listening to Health Talk. I hope you have a great weekend. It's Fred Lowry, pharmacist and doctor of natural medicine, Lowry Drug in Statesville. Come see us.